Many years ago, before Mana, before Caterham, before HRT, there was a team called Spyker. Joining Fomula One in 2006 and becoming an actual Fomula One team in 2007, apart from leading for real a race at the European Grand Prix that year, Spyker only scored 1 point that season, thanks to rising star Adrian Sutil. The team would later become Force Indy in 2008, which became Racing Point and Aston Martin as we know them now. Spyker's legacy in Formula One is very detailed, but not recognised. Until now. What's going on everyone, TomGorian, and welcome to Formula One 2021. Finally, this game is here, live, and welcome to the ultimate road to glory, my team career mode with Spyker. This is the first episode of the F1 2021 Spyker My Team Career Mode, the hardest My Team Career Mode you will find on this game. Okay, first things first, subscribe to the channel and like this video. We are on a roll of momentum right now because we've just passed 500 subscribers and I really want to capitalize on this game's launch. Thank you guys for 500 subscribers. The growth over the last week or so has been mental. The hype for this game is crazy, and now it's time for me to deliver. Welcome to the Spyker My Team Career Mode on F1 2021, a 16 race season on this game. We're going to be doing multiple seasons of F1 2021, and also with addition of the new tracks Jeddah, Imola and Portimao. If you're excited for the new tracks to come in this year's game, hit the like button and subscribe. Can we get 30 likes on this video? That would be massively appreciated, and I'll do a bonus. If we get 40 likes on this video, I might even make a second video. I might make that earlier as far as a double upload. How about it then? 30 likes for the normal goal, 40 likes for maybe a second upload on today. Today is the launch day of F1 2021, so if you do have the game, let me know how the game is for you on a pad or on a wheel. I'm going to be talking about how the game feels to me. I've done 42 laps so far. In this video you're going to be seeing the creation of Spyker, like you've seen in the intro, the qualifying and the race as well, all in one video. 35 minutes on 106 difficulty. It is on 105, but I do go on 106 for this video. As you can see right now, we're just messing around on the simulation settings, and I did have some time on this to really understand everything. Simulation damage. What really intrigued me was the surface type, so it was actually the track and how the track feels on a wheel. We just went with simplified, really. And as you can see, the weekend structure, we're going to go long. We do go medium, but for some reason you can't really change it individually as far as you know, practice. You can have a short practice session but a long race, or a full race, or a one-shot qualifying session. But now here we go. Welcome to this F1 2021 Spyker My Team.
To my team. Here you'll experience the world of Formula One not only as a driver, but as the owner of a brand new F1 team. First things first, let's create your driver.
So for those of you who don't have the game, who don't understand what this is about, pretty much you make your own team, and there's going to be certain elements where I'm going to just pretty much shut up and let the game talk to you and let you guys understand this mode. But as you can see right now, we're creating our driver, and one thing that's again disappointing, there's still no full customization as far as what we can do. I don't understand how, you know, franchises like EA Sports UFC, FIFA all have this in detailed full customization for your player, for your fighter, or just full customization, but yet on the F1 game we can't have that. We can't do that. We only have a template, and we can't really edit the face or the facial features or the height, or just we can only edit the driver's suit, the helmet, the gloves, etc, etc. But as you can see, from now we're editing our driver's suit. Obviously with Spyker we have to go with the black and orange. Orange is actually darker than the McLaren orange. Their orange is very light, you know, Papa orange. Ours is more of a darker, you know, reddish orange, if you will. Here you can see the victory calls, or you can hear the victory calls. I actually really like these, I'm not gonna lie. And I've decided to go for the Woohoo shades of Sebastian Vettel when he won his first race for Ferrari. And also you unlock 2 other radio calls with the podium pass. I will make a podium pass video later on in the week.
Now let's set up some of the key details of your new team. We'll start with an easy one. What name would you like to give the team?
So here we go, this is the creation of Spyker Formula One team. Obviously, Max, as you're going to hear, he's going to introduce you guys and talk to you guys and walk you through the process of the F1 2020 My Team career mode.
Nice. Now, some kind of income stream is critical, so we need to sign a primary sponsor. Our primary sponsor will pay a sign-in bonus to the team up front. This is vital to cover the early investments we need to make. They'll also provide a valuable weekly income for us. Each sponsor has a goal they want the team to achieve. If we hit that goal, the sponsor will pay us an additional goal bonus.
So as you can see right now, it's time to choose our primary sponsor. Our primary sponsor will stick with us for this first season of career mode. We don't want to go for a sponsor that's too difficult to the point where we can't do it unless we turn the difficulty down. We want to go for a realistic one. Duotone, XXI, Exxon, Echo. That seems like the best one. Achieve 2 points. Yeah, let's go with Echo.
Fantastic, now we've got a budget to work with. Our car won't be going anywhere fast without a power unit. So let's sign a power unit supplier now. We need both performance and durability from our power units, but we also need to balance the books. We're going to have a lot of other areas to invest our cash into.
Okay, now it's time to decide our engine. Now, since this video is being recorded, day 1 patch hasn't been out yet, so Honda is the quickest engine, but in this game right now, Mercedes have the quickest engine, but we're going to go for the Renault engine for the start.
We almost have all the key partners for our team now, but we still need a teammate for you. These are the drivers available to be your first teammate. They have all their own strengths and weaknesses, so consider everything when deciding who to hire. Drivers earn acclaim based on their performances. When a driver earns enough acclaim, they will level up. The higher a driver's level, the more acclaim they will earn for their current team. And remember, the faster the team levels up, the faster our income will increase. The higher a driver's experience, the more resource points are earned to spend on vehicle upgrades. Racecraft is the driver's skill to effectively complete overtakes when opportunities arise. Awareness shows the driver's ability to avoid errors and incidents. Pace describes the driver's ability to set competitive lap times. Focus represents the driver's current form and state of mind. Rating is a summary of the driver's overall skill level.
So this is the most important decision of the video. Who are we going to select as our teammate? All of these drivers are graduates of F2. You see Robert Schwartzman right there, Jack Aiken, Luca Giotto, Marcus Armstrong there. You know, I watched F2 last season and it was a lot of fun watching these young drivers coming through, but we're actually going to select Louis Delatraz from Switzerland. He's only 600k, but you know, Robert Schwartzman would be the easier option since he's the best driver out the lot, but with Louis Delatraz, he's Switzerland, and yeah, a fresh face.
Let's create the livery we'll be running this season. We can add more sponsors to the car as we sign them throughout the year. And don't worry, we can edit our look at any time from HQ.
Okay, time for the most important part of the My Team, which is selecting the livery and seeing what the livery is like. Now, I'm going to be cheeky with you guys. I'm not going to show the livery until the cutscene happens, but there's actually a lot of decent liveries to start out in this game. Way better than the liveries that we got in last year's F1 2020 game. The liveries last year were very basic, just very, you know, just meh. But in these ones, they have design, they have purpose, and now as you can see, we're selecting our emblem, selecting our badge, a simple S for Spyker, and yeah, without further ado, everything's set up. It's time to have our first interview with the legend himself, Will Boxton.
Hello folks, and welcome to this, a very special edition of Paddock Pass. As you can see, there's no pit lane behind me, and as you can hear, no roar of engines, and that's because they've set me free from the F1 paddock to escape here to the countryside and to the headquarters of Formula One's newest team. Now, it's not every day we get to pull back the curtain and look behind the scenes at an F1 team. Rarer still that we get to talk not only to the team owner, but also the team's lead driver. But what makes this place extra special is that the owner and lead driver are one and the same person. Now, it's been an interesting 12 months, and we all know a number of the regulation changes which were due to come into effect this year have been delayed until next. Some, though, are still seeing the light of day, amongst them the all-important budget cap, which gives some of the smaller teams a little further down the order, potentially, the opportunity to compete with the bigger teams. Good for them, but great for us as viewers. But what does our new team owner think about these new rules? Do they see them as a challenge, a hurdle that needs to be overcome? Perhaps they see them as an opportunity to disrupt the status quo, a chance to come out swinging and to carve their name into Formula One history. Well, I had the opportunity to ask them these very questions just earlier today, and here's what they had to say. Well, first of all, thanks so much for inviting us here today. It's been wonderful to see behind the scenes. As you might expect, I've got about 1 million questions, so let's jump straight in. It's been a long time since we last saw a team owner take their own car onto the track, and the sport's changed enormously in the intervening years. How are you going to handle the responsibilities of both managing and driving for a Formula One team? Let's talk about your teammate. Now, it's clear they're excited to have signed with you, but tell me, what is it that you think they bring to the team? So you've obviously been putting a lot of work into the car. I know it's early days, but how do you expect it to feel out there? Most of the other teams can boast years of experience in Formula One. Where do you see the opportunities to make those vital performance gains you need to put you within reach of the other cars? Ultimately, your success this season is going to come down to whether you can take positions from the other drivers. What is it about your car that's going to give you that edge in those battles? And finally, with so many specialist departments working together here at your headquarters, and with such an important deadline coming up, who's getting that coveted Teacher's Gold Star? Which group do you feel the most proud of right now? Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful to get an insight from you, and of course to see around the headquarters. Thank you for today. Really appreciate it, and thank you all at home for watching as well. We'll see you very soon.
So that is that then for the first interview with Will Boxton, and I can't lie, I think he did a good job answering all his questions. Obviously, the questions that he asked you, mainly the last three, pretty much indicate where your first starting point as far as development, as far as the facilities are concerned. So as you can see right now, here is the activity timeline. Notice the driver camp, the one that I'm hovering on, that's the one you want to do first. That's the one that is going to help your driver throughout the first couple of races, and your second driver might outperform you, but you know, if you're like me and you're a slow starter, then your second driver can carry you. The sooner the better, pretty much. You're not going to be as quick as you were on the previous game. You're going to lose 4 or 5 temps regards, before you get used to the setup and the gameplay and the physics. As you can see right now here, the facilities menu, we have a spec 1 on our aerodynamics, and I think for this year's game, the aerodynamics facility is going to be the facility we're going to upgrade the most and focus on. But as you can see, the powertrain, chassis, durability, the personnel with the simulator, and the marketing as well. As soon as we get enough money, we're going to try and start pretty much upgrading our facilities. But as you can see on the vehicle performance index, we are the 4th slowest team. I did not expect that. I didn't expect to be the 4th slowest team from the get-go. Oh my god, I have an erection. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, that car is beautiful. Okay, that is the car that we're going to be running for the first season of this My Team Career Mode with Spyker. It's a good livery. It's a good livery, and plus, it's the orange and black that really stands it out, and I really like the livery. Obviously, we're going to be adding more sponsors to the car the more races we do. But here, as you can see, here is the upgrade menu. The R&D tree is now gone, and in its place, it's more simpler, more smoother. It's more like a loot box type of menu where you pretty much hover between the upgrades, and you select one, and then it's very smooth. It reminds me of the old F1 games, not the upgrades themselves, but just the menu, as far as how it is, how slick it is. You go up and it's very smooth, and the box type upgrades where it shows you the upgrades, I think that's really good. As you can see, the development focus on the bottom right there, everything's very different. You can't really tell now as far as how you compare to other teams. So for example, in last year's game, if you wanted to compare your chassis to Ferrari or McLaren or Williams, you could, and you could see where you were. You could see how far you're behind, and you could see how much gain you would have, like you're seeing right now, but instead of the entire car, it would be for the facilities. So I could have the 4th best engine, but the 3rd worst chassis, and I'd be behind Williams and Alfa Romeo, but quicker than McLaren and Red Bull in the chassis. So we're going to get our first upgrade here for the powertrain. That's going to be going on the car for the Spanish Grand Prix, but without further ado, it's time for qualifying. Okay, so jumping back in the game for the first time, and I can't lie, there was a lot of things that were different between this game and F1 2020. And before this qualifying session, I did like 10-11 laps in practice, and there was a lot of things that were really different, that really separated, that I really noticed on this game. The first thing that I will say on this game, as far as gameplay wise, is the handling. It's very similar to F1 2020, but it's very noticeable in high-speed corners. It's way more understeery this year. I think obviously with the new floor regulations, you'd expect that the rear of the car would be more harder to control. It's not that issue. The issue is just the handling itself, mainly on that fast right-hander. Braking as well, that's another thing. I noticed the braking, I don't know if that's just because of the spec car or if it's actually weaker this year, but I found that braking was way more harder, and I was locking up easily, and I was very inconsistent with braking heading into the corners, mainly the penultimate corner, the last corner. In qualifying, it's not really an issue, the high speed corners, but in the race, like the first 10 laps, you'll notice that, you know, you have to significantly lift compared to last year's game where you could go flat out. And I'm worried about that because, you know, in corners like Stowe, Cops, you know, high speed corners, El Rouge maybe, you just take them flat out, but in this game, you can't really. So as you can see, our first qualifying lap time is a 1:27.9, but as you can see, with 42 seconds left, this is going to be our final lap in qualifying. It's short qualifying, so there's no real point to try and make it into Q2. We're going to just try and where we're at right now. That's the whole point of this first race, and as you can see, we're only 21st, and we don't have enough time to go out there and get another lap in. So what we're going to do, retire from the session, and as you can see from now, Lewis Hamilton gets pole position from his teammate Valtteri Bottas. But where are we? We're last place. We're last place. Louis Delatraz is 19th place. Mazepin, Latifi qualified ahead of us. Yeah, it's around about 5 tenths. So not really bad. You know, 5 tenths is the gap, but, you know, I think the more we play the game and the more we get used to it, the more time we're going to find. So, without further ado, it's time for the first race of the season.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as we get another year of Formula One underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice, and they've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Ricciardo, Verstappen, Sergio Perez and Norris, Vettel, Stroll, Gasly and Charles Leclerc, Sainz, Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso and Ocon, Raikkonen, Mick Schumacher, George Russell and Antonio Giovinazzi, Delatraz, Mazepin, Latifi and Thomas. And now it's time to head down to the track.
I don't know about you, but I always get nervous when I have a first race of a new game because I think it's just because I don't know what to expect. The strategy for this race will be a one-stop from the mediums to the hard tyres. I think the tyre wear in this year's game is dramatically different to last year's. Notice the drop-off on the mediums. Setup. I need to talk about the setup because I am shook as far as setup is concerned. I don't know what way it goes this year as far as, is it more wings, is it less wings, is the wings exactly the same? What about the differential or the transmission? Tyre pressures, apparently this year it's the minimum tyre pressures on the front and high and the most hardest tyre pressures on the rears, so that really, you know, confused me. But I'm sure with the more time I'll play on this game, the more easier the setups will be for this game and where I can find the time. But here we go, no formation lap, getting ready for 5 red lights. It's lights out in Bahrain for the first race of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. And it's a good start there from Nicholas Latifi. Mazepin as well, he had a bit of a terrible start. There's a gap on the inside. We're going to take 4, 5, 6 cars, hopefully, in towards the first corner. It is on simulation damage, so we don't want to make any type of contact that's going to result in us losing our front wing, or, you know, some parts of our rear wing, or even the side pods or the barrage boards as well. Anyway, going in towards turn 3, do we look on the inside of Mick Schumacher? No, we don't. Lock up there from Nicholas Latifi. We go a little bit wide. The curbs as well. Note to self, on this game, for some reason, the curbs are absolutely deadly. And as you can see right there, the exit curb from that corner, that's deadly. You don't want to go too much onto that curb, and if you do, be prepared to either spin or lose the back end. Anyway, going into this tight left-hander, double left-hander there. Make sure you don't lock up on the front left. And we've overtaken Mick Schumacher into P18. We go. Yellow flags as the end of the first lap happens. Someone's retired from this race. A green flag, hopefully. And there's still a caution there. So something's happened. Mick Schumacher is gone from this race. It's not even the first 2 laps yet, and Mick Schumacher has retired. Let's see what happens with Mick Schumacher. And it looks like, let's just see, I think it might be an engine failure. Yes, it is an engine failure for Mick Schumacher. So as far as the faults are concerned, you can control the faults here, not only for the AI but for yourself. The AI, it's on low for now because I don't want to really, you know, make it as an excuse to score points or anything. But yeah, they will happen, and I don't know if they're going to happen to us. But anyway, lap 3, DRS is enabled. This is going to be our first legitimate overtake of F1 2021. Down the inside we go on Nicholas Latifi, and that is a simple move, even with the DRS and ERS as well. It's a simple move, but it's a move that we'll take nonetheless. We're in P17. As you can see, we're changing our brake bias and maybe the differential. I'm just trying to find, you know, a decent tone as far as, you know, what I like on the front brake bias. There's a yellow flag. It's an Alpine car. That's Esteban Ocon. Again, we lose the rear end there on that cab. But let's see what happens here on the Alpine. I don't know why I'm on board with Fernando Alonso, because this is not Fernando Alonso. This is Ocon, I think. And as you can see, yeah, Ocon just ahead, he spins. But why does he spin? Oh, he's on the cab. Wow, that's so human. The AI make so much mistake. Well, their mistakes now are more humanified than ever before now. Wow. I've never seen an AI do that as far as get on the curb and spin like a controller or like a player user. That's so weird to see. Anyway, lap 8 of this Grand Prix. Handling just felt very understeery throughout the corner. I don't know if it was because of the setup or the tyres or just the dirty air. And speaking of the dirty air, you can feel it this year on this game. I don't know if I'm going to show it, but pretty much through now, as you can see right there, I went wide on that corner. I had to lift off, and I didn't want to go on the curb because you get floor damage now if you take the curbs too aggressively. Lap 10 of this race, we're nearly in the points. Can we just get a DNF? Maybe. Hopefully we can, but it doesn't look like it as we end lap 10 on the beginning of lap 11. And as you can see, George Russell in that beautiful Williams car goes down the inside. Can we fight back? No, we don't. And George Russell in that Williams Mercedes is in P11. If George Russell scores points in today's race, that's going to be mental, considering he's had a couple of chances in the real life season to score points and just bad luck or whatever, he hasn't. But hopefully he does score points. Anyway, we come into the pits for our first pit stop of F1 2021. We're going to go from the mediums to the hards. Simple one-stop strategy. You might have seen others benefit majorly from this. This is not an undercut, this is a scheduled pit stop, so we're going to come in and fit the hard tyres. And as you can see right there, with 2.6 second pit stop, not bad. And we're going to come out in pretty much last place because Carlos Sainz has retired. Actually no, Nikita Mazepin is actually behind us, so we've actually jumped the Haas there of Nikita Mazepin, the scumbag. Anyway, lap 15. Have we closed the gap to our teammate Louis Delatraz? Obviously, he had that driver training camp. He's behind George Russell, there he is, and the gap is slightly closed, but not much. And yeah, at that point, it was kind of disappointing because I thought the undercut around Bahrain was very powerful, at least. As you can see now, as we enter the second half of the race, Antonio Giovinazzi goes around the outside and follows the line beautifully to take 15th place, excuse me. So, one lap later, lap 19, DRS as well. We're going to get the slipstream, we're going to go around the long round. Around the outside, there's Charles Leclerc. There, can we get the better traction and the exit? Yes, we do. We get the inside and we retake P15 in this race. Here's a replay of that replay. I do love the replay system in this year's game. Is it just me, or does this game on next gen feel way better, or just look more better than F1 2019? I consider F1 2019 to be graphically the best game of all time, but this game might give it a run for its money. Pierre Gasly, around the outside, he just made a second stop for the medium tyres. He's going to go around the outside and make a double overtake on me and Antonio Giovinazzi, but we get a great exit there. We mug off Giovinazzi, and now we're going to try and go around the outside of Pierre Gasly. Can we make the move stick here? Around the outside into turn 4? Yes, we do! What a move that was that we made on the AlphaTauri. I made some wonderful overtakes, but as I say that, lose the back end on the final corner, and now Giovinazzi is going to have a hell of a run, going around the outside or following the line even, and that Alfa Romeo is a rocket ship in a straight line. But for some reason they don't have the downforce to compete with us. But you know, that overtake pretty much sealed the deal. We weren't going to score points, but today was just about, you know, finding the limit with the car, trying to find a decent setup. Anyway, the two Mercedes have dominated this race. Valtteri Bottas wins the Bahrain Grand Prix ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton, and that should, you know, that should set up an epic clash for the title between Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. Anyway, today it was P18 for us, but you know what? For this first race, and maybe for the next couple of races, we'll take it. Very decent performance today. We had some good overtakes, some good battles, and yeah, but points seem far away.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Just like in real life, it's a Mercedes 1-2. Bottas rarely beats Hamilton by what looked like to be 3-4 attempts. Daniel Ricciardo gets his first podium with McLaren in P3. Instead of Lando Norris, it's Daniel Ricciardo who gets McLaren's first podium of F1 2021. So as you can see, we're getting experience points here for XP. I'm going to be doing a video on the podium pass just to see what's new and just to see if there's anything that is worth unlocking, unlike last year's game. Bottas beats Lewis Hamilton by just over 7 tenths of a second. Daniel Ricciardo is in third place. Sonoda, Stroll and Alonso finish in the points. Charles Leclerc doesn't, and Louis Delatraz finished P16 in the race today. We beat Nick Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. So Lewis Hamilton takes victory here in Bahrain. Now it's time to interview with Claire.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you? Why do you think you weren't as quick as your teammate today? Appreciate your time.
So yeah, that first race was actually decent. Can't lie. You know, even though we didn't score points, even though we didn't really show pace, you know, just to get a good feel for the game. get used to the game again, get used to all the changes that they've made. Now, as you can see on the activity timeline, we're actually going to have a department event.
It looks like you've had a meeting request from one of our departments. As the boss, departments will often reach out to you for advice on how to handle the various ongoings of your team. These events can range from everything from organising charity events to dealing with driver matters. How you decide to handle these will have an impact not only on our resources, but how the press perceives us. The personnel department has asked us to deal with this. We have a couple of options here. Take your time. What you decide to do will have consequences.
So for this department event, they want me to choose either pace or awareness for Louis Delatraz. I think he showed good pace in Bahrain. I think he just needs a little bit more of awareness. So we're going to choose awareness for Louis Delatraz. And as you can see, thanks to the 16-round season, we already have our first break. So we're going to focus more now on the facilities and also going through the timeline as well, getting those weekly resources. Just trying to see if we can really do anything as far as upgrades. And as you can see, we have our first upgrade for the chassis, and now we can now do the energy store cells positioning. That will go in the car for just before Spain. But yeah, in order to unlock more upgrades, we need to unlock the first spec for the facilities. But that is that for the first episode of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode with Sauber. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The racing was okay. We didn't score points, but the foundation is there to score points this season. And hopefully by season 2 we can do a lot of things. But thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hopefully we can get to 600 subscribers. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.